I knew what was holding women in real estate back until I started coaching them. And in this episode, I'm going to break down for you the 3 things that are really holding you back that show up in almost every coaching call I've ever had. And honestly, any room that I walk in with women in real estate, it was true for my business, and I bet that it's true for you too. And I'm going to break it down so that you can get on the other side of the success that you really want. So bestie, first of all, I'm Rosemary. Hey girl, hey, I am your real life real estate bestie servicing the far North Dallas area. But more than that, I have a heart for just helping you grow the business that God is calling you to grow so that you can go out here and be profitable and a light in the marketplace. And speaking of being a light in the marketplace, like, let's just be real. Real estate it can be a very, very tough industry. And I know that I have had and still continue to have my share of ups and downs. And a lot of times when things aren't clicking and they're not going the way that you want them to go, we start scrambling, trying to figure out, okay, what is the missing piece of the puzzle? And what do I need as a woman in real estate in order to be successful? And I will tell you that, in my own real estate journey, there were some things that I was in it for a long time before I recognized these 3 patterns that I'm going to share with you today that was not represented in my business, and how once this clicked for me, it has been a game changer in how I've been able to show up and how I see the bestie showing up every day. But like you, right, when things are going slower and when the clients aren't rolling in or we're struggling to convert, automatically you think, what do you need? I need more sales, right? Because you need more money. I need more leads. You need more, more conversions. You need the interest rates to come down. And while all of that would be helpful, here's what I'm here to tell you is that I see people, and I've seen people that were in the most conducive markets where, interest rates were lower, where sales prices were more affordable, and you still won't make it if you don't have these 3 things that I'm going to break down for you today. And the thought from this came from, I am literally fresh off of a real estate retreat. I spent the past 3 days in Broken Bow, Oklahoma. Now, side note, if you haven't ever been to Broken Bow, now it is about 2.5 hours, maybe 3 hours outside of Dallas. And it's one of those like cabin towns where you really go to relax and retreat. They have all these big luxury cabins, like 10 out of 10, highly recommend for like the relaxation and connection piece to go to a place like this. But I know that there are other places around the country. I was invited. It was not a quote unquote real estate bestie event, but I am I practice what I preach about getting into the room. So when I see rooms that align with not only who I am, but who I desire to be, I definitely make the effort to get into that room. So myself and 2 of my actual teammates, I run a team here in North Dallas. So 2 of my teammates, we went over to the retreat. And let me tell you something, we weren't really sure. Like, we knew the organizers and we knew some of the people that would be there, but we didn't know all of the people that would be there. So not really sure what we would walk into. And that's okay. Like, that's one of the first things that I want to say is that sometimes you don't know, like, am I going to gel with the people? Like, is the content going to be good? And all of these different things that years ago would have held me back from getting into a room like this. I'm so happy that they are a non-issue, right? Like, because worst case scenario, if I didn't love it, I would have just left, right? But even though I didn't have all the answers and I didn't know, like, let me tell you something, I didn't even know my sleeping arrangements. I didn't even know what kind of room I booked. And we're in a cabin, and I booked a room where I was like one of the bunk beds. And friends, I literally was in a cabin with or in a room, not a cabin. The cabin had like 40 women, but my specific room had like 7 or 8 of us. And initially, even me, extroverted Rosemary, I was like, woo, but it ended up being the best thing and the best connections were made. But I'm curious, go ahead and tell me in comments if you would have stayed in that room. But long story short, get there, and even in this space, I was like, I see this same repeatable pattern, and I'm going to share with you what is missing, okay? Because a lot of women in real estate, I hear you say, especially when you're starting out or if you just haven't had the number of transactions under your belt that you feel like you need to have, I consistently hear besties say, I want to be more confident, right? I want to be more confident in how I'm showing up, more confident on social media, more confident in the contracts and all of these other things. And for some reason, we think that this confidence is just going to appear one day, that we are going to take our non-confident persona and magically you're just going to grow and develop all on your own. And while that could be true, let me tell you the way to fast track your confidence in anything, especially in the real estate field. It is to be in the right community. When you are in the right community, what tends to happen is that, number one, I'm not going to say you get people to gas you, but when you are in a community of people and we are all working towards the same goal, and we are like, I'm in the trenches, you're in the trenches, we supporting each other, we are building confidence because you are not doing it alone, okay? And one thing that I love, the one thing that I loved about this weekend, and one thing that I love about, even when I coach besties in our Accelerator Bestie coaching program, is that when you are doing life and business with other people, you get to borrow confidence from them in order to show up more authentically yourself. And this is what I mean. I think about how a couple months ago, I've shared this with you on the YouTube, if you're watching on YouTube or listening on the podcast, where in our Accelerator coaching group, we had a conversations challenge, right? Because in order to build a real estate business, in order to get any closings, it all has to start with a conversation. But if you are lacking confidence and something happens, like even I've seen the most extroverted people who can talk to a door all of a sudden lose all their good sense when they get in real estate. You're so nervous about sounding thirsty or sales that you don't even know how to initiate a conversation anymore. And it can become a real big barrier. And the longer that you get nervous and allow yourself to overthink or overanalyze or fear having conversations, the harder it becomes. But when we came together in our coaching group and we said, hey, we're having a conversations challenge. And in that challenge, it was competitive, but healthy, encouraging competition, where even if you were like, what I noticed is that I had some besties that like took off to the races. I told them to have 10 conversations a day, but they're having 35, they're having 20, right? They're excited and ready to go. But this was the really beautiful part, is that they were a part of like these teams. So if I had 10 or 20 conversations a day and I noticed that one of my homegirls didn't even fill out her sheet, I would get like, they were getting on the phone with each other and saying, hey, like, when are you going to get out, or giving suggestions or hyping each other up. And that's what happens when you have community, and it's healthy community. And sometimes you have to pay for healthy community. Like I just left this retreat and I met so many amazing professional women who are building business just like I'm building business. But guess what? Half of them went in my phone before this weekend, right? I had to invest in getting in that room for this healthy community. And same thing with our coaching program, this healthy community. Before I knew it, even if I had a bestie who wasn't the type to go out and shoot for 30 conversations, you know what? She went from 0 to 10. She went from 0 to 15, because there is like, I can't even put a value on how important having community is, especially as a business owner. Because here is the deal. You went out and you got your real estate license, okay? But your homegirl, your husband, your friends who are even like in leadership and corporate, they don't understand the entrepreneur grind, okay? So it's going to be imperative, if you are going to make it, and not only just make it, but like actually have joy about the business that you are doing, to have healthy community around you, and community that's going to hype you up and get you going, and not only just hype you up for hyping you up sake, but if I see what you're doing and we are in this thing together, I'm going to be encouraged, and honestly, you're showing me what's possible. And even if you are the type of person, like I can think of a few friends, a few people that I know that may be killing it in real estate. They're like bomb solo agents and they get all the awards and all the accolades. But real talk, when you talk to them, and I'm using the word friend loosely, people that I know, when you talk to them, because they are just in their bubble operating alone, They are threatening burnout. They don't have anyone to talk to be honest about what's going on, trying to keep up this facade like everything is going so good because they're closing a lot of deals. But in reality, it has gotten lonely at the top because there has never been an opportunity to introduce themselves to community. So one thing that I've noticed that women in real estate need, myself included, is community. I started off real estate on a team, then I was a solo agent, now I'm on a team again. I 1,000,000% prefer being on a team, even though there is a split, like there was a split when I was on a team, there's a split now that I'm a team leader. And maybe a team isn't for you. Maybe, like, I have a lot of besties in accelerator coaching that they use their coaching investment in addition to what we support on the coaching front. They are using that because of the very, very deep community that we have built within the program. And I'm telling you right now, if you're interested in figuring out about coaching, if you're watching this in October of 2025, as I'm recording the video, like, we are about to be open for coaching. So go to rosemarylewis.com/coach to really learn about accelerator coaching. But whether you work with us or not, find your community, find your real estate besties. And I'm just going to say from my personal experience is when you invest in getting in rooms, when everybody has a buy-in, then our commitment to community, it just looks a little bit deeper. So that's what the women need. They need community. I saw it this weekend. I saw it in my coaching groups. I see it with Real Estate Bestie. That is what you need. You need community around you. Okay, now here's the next thing. Most people, it piggybacks, think that they just need more discipline. I don't know how often I have heard, like, you know what you're supposed to be doing, but it's the consistency piece where you lack. Well, friend, it's very likely that you do need discipline, but what you need more than that is you need something to be accountable to. You need accountability, like a place where where someone knows exactly what you're working towards and they are going to hold you accountable in order to do it. Going back to this past weekend, we had somebody, like one of the girls, I actually knew her, Shalina. Hey, Shalina. She taught a session, and in her session, she challenged us, everyone in the room, to like really outline a goal or something you want to accomplish before the end of the year. Because guess what? When you're in the right community, they don't give you a pass on just saying 2026 is going to be my year, or 2027, or future forecasting. It's like, no, you got 65 days, sis. Like, what's going to happen in the next couple days? And she was like, send a message to somebody you know right now that is going to hold you accountable. And I'm telling you right now, accountability is the game changer. I set a goal, a habit, something that I want to complete before the end of the year. And in order to do it, I've told today, since I've been back, about 6 people, okay? I've told about 6 people, and 3 of the 6, like, they have some skin in the game to hold me accountable. I'm holding them accountable to some things, and that's what you need. Going back to our coaching group, right? I actually did a call with some of our besties today, and we have these things for our besties that coach for an extended period of time when they choose a year option called CEO days, where it's a little bit outside of our regular coaching calls that we have every Tuesday. In our coaching program, we have a coaching call every Tuesday at noon CST, and then we also have like a quick role play call. But aside from that, we've had these CEO days where you actually like sit in the seat of a CEO instead of working in the business. You work on the business and really talk about, okay, what are the things that are going well? What do we need to do to move the needle? And in this call, we said, okay, what thing are you going to have done by the next time we have our next accountability CEO call? And it was so cute. One of the besties, who shall remain nameless, she said what she was going to have completed by the time we were on the next call, which was about 3 months away from now. And literally we challenged her, like, friend, that goal that you just named, you can have that part done by Friday. And we supported her to how she could get that part done, and encouraged her healthy accountability to stretch to a different goal, right? That's going to really move the needle in her business so that she can really live the life that she wants to live. So that's what you need, friend. You need some accountability. You need somebody who is not going to judge you, but who is going to lovingly challenge and hold you accountable to keeping the promises that you made to yourself. I think about it from this standpoint because this is something that I know so true and so well. And just this Friday, as a matter of fact, I will celebrate 2 years where I have not touched a sip of alcohol. Like, I haven't drank. And now if you would have asked me 2 years ago, 2 years and 6 months, 2 years and 4 months, 2 years and 4 days ago, I would have looked at you and said, I don't think that that's possible, right? Because social drinking, I love the good Prosecco, love the good spicy margarita, love the good espresso martini. Okay, I'm not going to fall off the wagon. I'm not even going to speak that over myself. But my point is you wouldn't have been able to tell me 2 years ago that I would be here 2 years later, alcohol free. And if you're an OG, tell me in the comments if you're an OG, you remember when I first said that I was looking to live an alcohol-free lifestyle, right? The difference maker was the accountability. Putting accountability around me, saying it out loud. And part of saying it out loud, let me tell you why you might not be saying the things you want to do out loud. Because you don't have that healthy community around you, right? The community that you got around you are going to judge you when you need additional support or when you fall off, or maybe they're going to be planning your demise, right? I remember when I first said I was going to stop drinking, I had a neighbor who was like, girl, and even a friend, the friend didn't necessarily mean me harm. She was really thinking about herself. The friend was like, girl, but it's going to be my birthday, right? You got to drink on my birthday. Like, girl, why I got to drink on your birthday? I really don't, right? And because I had the healthy community around me that could hold me accountable, even when the other people that didn't understand, this is why it's important to invest your time and your energy in the right people around you. Even when the other people didn't understand, I had that safe place to land and to lovingly hold me accountable. And by the way, I also want to say this. There have been I can count at least 10 times, okay, in the last 2 years where I was on my way to the liquor store. I was on my way like at the restaurant, but because I had healthy accountability, I could call it out and tell somebody who would encourage me to keep the promise that I'm keeping to myself. So, woman in real estate, yeah, you think you need discipline, but one of the reasons that you lack the discipline is because you don't have the proper accountability, okay? And then here's the next thing, right? The last thing. So the first one was you need community. The second one is you need accountability, okay? And that comes from the healthy community. And then here's the last one that most women in real estate need. Baby, you need a coach. You need a guide. You need someone who has gone ahead of you, who has done the thing that you are looking to do, who's going to be able to help you take the emotion out of it and look at the things in your business from both a tactical, a fuel view way to be able to help you make the tweaks that you don't even know need to be made so that you can get better. And I'm telling, I saw it this weekend, right? This weekend, we are, and this is what I love, in this room, you had people who are, running teams, been in real estate 20, 30 years, doing it at a high level, or maybe they've been in real estate 5 or 6 years, but still doing it at a high level, right? Selling $20, $30 million. And then we had literally a young lady who just got licensed in January and she hasn't closed her first deal yet. There was so much, and don't get it twisted, the high producers, we definitely were able to pour into other people, but don't think that we didn't walk away poured into, okay? I'll give you one for me. I don't even know if I want to say this out loud, but I started a TikTok, okay? I started a TikTok just because that is an area where I want to see some growth and I wasn't even trying. So I sat next to somebody who is killing it at TikTok for their real estate business and got some pointers. And step number one was Rosemary started TikTok. Now, truth be told, I had started another TikTok years ago. I can't even get in it. I don't know what the password is. So we have another one. Follow me at the Real Estate Bestie if you want to on TikTok, okay? But my point is that having someone to guide you and show you is the game changer. And even today, like today, I've had 3 or 4 conversations with some Accelerator besties. When you coach with Accelerator, we have this really cool app called Boxer. So one of the besties was talking through a scenario where her client kept going to the builder without her, and she's just trying to figure out how to lovingly tell her not to go to the builder without her, which I responded like, but why you don't want to go without you? Like, it doesn't mean you're irrelevant. Can we add these steps to your process? So in the event, you can still run the show. Like, I gave her some pointers, some little tweaks that if she decides that it works for her business and she wants to put in the tweaks, it's going to simplify her process and some of the conversations. But had she not had a coach, she might be really frustrated with this client, right? We give perspective. We give options, we share resources. And oftentimes, if you are not willing to really get the help you need, then don't be surprised that you don't get the help you need. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes you have to be willing. And I think about it, like when I first started off in real estate, I did not have the mindset of investing in myself and in my business. However, I knew I needed help, so I joined a team. And, I think back and I remember having a conversation with somebody at the time, and they were like, just headstrong. You know how we are. We can do everything ourselves. We don't need to share our money with nobody. And this person, thinking they were giving me good advice, was like, ain't no way in the world I would go to that team. But this is what I knew I needed. I knew I needed accountability. I knew I needed community around me, and I needed a freaking coach. Okay. And that team leader ended up being my coach. And to this day, like today, there are certain things that I've learned from that experience that I still apply in my business. And if I look at what's happened to my business over the past few years versus the person who gave me that advice, it is literally night and day, okay? Because one of us invested in coaching and one of us did not. So this is my appeal to you, friend. Every woman in real estate is going to come to a crossroads, right? You're feeling unconfident, get you some community around you. You're struggling with the discipline, you need to have some accountability. If you feel like you keep bumping your head, you're doing all the things, but none of the things are working, it is very likely you need coaching to support you, okay? And let me tell you something, we have that available here with Real Estate Bestie in our Accelerator Bestie coaching program. In this program, which we are, by the way, enrolling for right now, you get support from myself, you get support from the besties, you get business strategy. We teach you how to build systems that you are going to have ownership over, so that you will actually implement it in your business. This is not a situation where, we're just going to give you a whole bunch of templates that you are never going to do anything with, but we are going to equip and empower you where you can finally stand confidently, okay, in what you are building. And here is the biggest thing, and I've said this before, is that the worst thing that I think, worse than failing, because even when you fail or it doesn't work out, there's a lesson to be learned. The worst thing than failing is the shoulda, coulda, wouldas. Oh, I wish I woulda did this. Oh, I shoulda, did that. Or I coulda did this, right? And we are in how they say we in sweater season or chilly season. We're in shoulda, coulda, woulda season. This is the part where we start to make excuses on why we didn't do what we said we were going to do at the beginning of the year. Or you can be like me. Like, this is one of the things I love, that when I stopped drinking, that it wasn't on January 1st, because I now forever have this thought in my mind, is that I don't have to wait until some, crazy magic day that is not magic to change my life. I can change it right now. So if you are a woman in real estate and you nodding your head like, oh, bestie, you are talking to me, then girl, get on my line, okay? Head on over to rosemarylewis.com/coach so that you can get in the room. And this is something that I'm really, really excited and passionate about, is that with our Accelerator Besties, the same mini retreat situation that I did this past week, I do this in April with the besties. We are headed to a baller beach house in 30A. and we are going to spend a few days together. Now, we're going to spend some months together at building business and getting to know each other and building that confidence and building this consistency so you can get that consistent money, okay? But then we're going to come together. And this is what I'm thinking. Like, this event that I just left this past weekend was so powerful. And half of the women there were strangers to me when I walked in, but I walked out with brand new relationships. On the flip side, for our real estate besties, we are doing life and business together on a weekly basis. So you better believe, friend, when we get to Florida, okay, it's going all the way down and all the way up. But the biggest part are the breakthroughs that happen when you get in the room. And I will tell you, even for myself, I left, like I just told you, I left this retreat this past weekend with some very tangible, with the confidence and the power to go after a tangible goal, a goal that I had set out for a couple of, in my mind, it would happen next year. But then I thought when I left there, why does it have, if I get the right accountability and if I prioritize my time, when I make this decision to keep the promise to myself, it can happen now. And that is the beauty about getting in a room. You go deeper within your own self. I said your own self. Is that what you're supposed to? I don't know. I said it. You go deeper within yourself and new level unlock. So if you are ready to unlock a new level, hit up rosemarylewis.com/coach. We only have a few spots left because we keep Accelerator Bestie intimate. As of today's date, it will not be one of those 100 people programs because we want to go deep with you to not only build the business, but build the life that God is calling you to. So make sure you go and check it out. Okay, and then in the next episode, I'm going to talk to you. You got to come back because I'm going to honestly break down for you some serious concerns. I'm talking serious concerns I have with AI and your safety in real estate. So we will talk about that in the next episode. I'll talk to you soon. Bye, bestie. If you enjoyed this episode and you have a real life bestie that you think it would resonate with, y'all, do me a favor. Go ahead and hit that share button because you know what? We are better together. Make sure you share the podcast, and I appreciate your reviews. I appreciate you giving me 5 stars more than you know. I'll talk to you next week.